So I think one of the things also in marriage, especially when you're having issues, is to agree that you have an issue. Don't just rush into. One of the things is people assume and brush it, or rather sweep it under the rug. So just accept there is an issue, find a way of sorting your issues, one that works for both of you, and also know that you are fighting the issue, not you, and avoid name calling, because after the issue is sorted, that person will remember the name you called them. And also define the easiest way for you to sort an issue. What works for both of you? She'd want to breathe. I'd want to sort it at that time. But can we find a common ground on how we sort the issues? Are we be able to call it time out and also sort the issue without disrespecting each other? Because long after the issue is gone, we will remember how we treated each other in that season.
Yeah.
So I think that
we
won't remember what we were fighting for, but we will definitely remember how we spoke to each other, how we were irrational, and the reactions we had. So for us, that is one thing we are not there yet. We are still working on as we continue to discover ourselves, but issues will always be there.
That's the reality.
That's the reality of marriage.
And the fact that you have an issue doesn't mean that marriage isn't working. I remember one thing that I really appreciated was, for us, we took a 1 month kind of honeymoon break. So when I finally met some friends of ours, and I just asked them, hey, how was first month in marriage? And then they were like, why? Tell us, how has it been in one month? And I was like, hey, I wish it was all beautiful. But I just don't think, I was so surprised that why would you have a fight after honeymoon? I for me, it was like, let's have, it should be like a whole year of honeymoon. Let's enjoy each other. But now it's after honeymoon, then we have an issue and we need to sort it. And then now you have friends who tell you, imagine even for us it was like that. I was like, oh, so I'm not breaking a marriage. It's nice. Okay, let's move on. So when you have people who tell you
the truth
that at times there are issues in marriage, it's never a happy time every time.
It to some people it will not be an issue within the first month or the second month. It's not an SI unit, but issues will be there at times. How you handle it really matters. Then also one of the advice we got from a couple friend of ours is don't be fast to share everything with people. Just sort your issues. Try as much as possible to sort your issues, because it creates a way for you to be able to develop mechanism for sorting your issues. Because if you start by running to people, you are developing and you're making it a tradition. You'll find yourself always running to people. So try to find a level ground of sorting your issues. When you share, and also avoid sharing with family, because there is a way if I share with my family my issue with her, there is a way I am portraying her to my family. They will start treating her that way. Because when we are good, we won't share. We will share only when things are bad. So they will forever think that she's bad. The same way from both sides. So just handle your stuff as much as you can. And also expect issues. You guys are getting married after staying 20 years together, or rather 30 to some, on your own. Now you are beginning to stay together. If you will have issues with your brother that you saw being born, and you knew him from birth, and you will still quarrel, what about this person that you've met and you started staying together after 25 years? There will definitely be issues. Some are expectations, some are how we were raised. Me, I stayed alone. I enjoyed my space. Somebody is coming in that space. She was staying with her family. There were some things should be given in the family I cannot provide. I am not 5 people. I am one person. So there are those aspects that you also need to look at. And then again, the person that you marry is not after you to kill you. They married you because they love you. So when you have an issue, do not forget that they married you because they love you. Because we tend to forget. Who alikuwa hapa ni uwe. No, it's not the case.
And the beauty of it, like, there's a place God handles it. At times, if I can't tell Jonathan, like Jonah, I tell him, babe, I have this issue, I can tell it to God, and God brings a way of sorting out the issue. Even at times, itakuwa like, umeingiza story, and then you're like, oh, by the way, umetusaidia kwa something we were going through. And then we laugh about it and life goes on. So God always brings people in your life to help you out in different times. And when you have an avenue with people to share, just don't keep quiet. I'm sure there are people around you who are good, who have good intentions for you. And I trust that at every season, God is going to bring people in your life who you need to go to push you out there and just tell you that let's move on. Marriages are of God. He's the one who keeps it, and He's the one who's going to help us stay in it. So even us being intentional, not to love on each other and forget our relationship with God, because I also have time. I have to have time for me with God, and Him having His time with God. Yeah.
So I think very briefly, what advice now then will you give to someone who wants to get married, but either they're afraid because of the financial aspect of it, what people will think, the whole process, basically, what advice would you give such a person?
Oh, marriage is good. Marriage is beautiful. It was one thing that God looked at and said it was not good for a man to be alone. It just means there's a beauty in it. And for me, I'll just tell someone that it is in God's plan. And just don't fear getting into a relationship, whether because of heartbreak or past things. God is always in the order of making things new. And as much as that, ikitu ni faith. Unajua utaikuwa ready. Utaisema that I have every resource done. Even on that particular day, I just checked on that and I'm like, if it was me, I would have, should we do the wedding tomorrow? Because I'm already late. I would want a perfect day. So at times is just step out in faith. He's the God of weddings. Do you know how surprising it is? Jesus' first miracle was in a wedding. It was not a healing miracle. It was not just any kind of miracle. He chose to have his first miracle in a wedding. And I think there must be a lesson or a beauty in it. And the miracle was that he supplied. And my advice would be, no matter what, God is able to supply. Is it that spouse who you need? He's the one who gives people. Do not check on your age. Don't check on your past and say, I've had bad relationships so that all men are bad. Not all men are bad. Some men could have done wrong things to you, but not all men are bad.
Yeah.
So there's a beauty to it, and life is worth living with God at it. Yeah. So just launch it. Na hautaikuwa useme ati niko na kila kitu. Just step into it. Begin. What do you have? You just begin. God is able to start with you. Yeah.
Marriage is a partnership.
Yeah.
Two people partnering with God to accomplish His mission.
Amen.
So I need to define my mission. She needs to define her mission. Then we need to define our mission.
Yes.
What is God calling us to do together? That is what marriage is. And because it is His, He will direct, He will provide. If you get to a place whereby you have everything in it, you think it is about you. That is why He will provide when there is need. And funny enough, He's the one that brings the need. Because He's the one that says, it is not good for man to be alone. So that is already Him creating the need. So He will supply for His need because it is His. So when you get to a place whereby you think it is out of wisdom, out of understanding, or out of experience that will make your marriage work, then you get it wrong because you've removed God in the equation. It cannot be about you. And if you're in a marriage and you cannot define the mission of that marriage as a couple in regards to the ministry, or rather to serving Christ, then you're mark timing. Because two coming together, they come together to accomplish something greater.
Yeah.
Something greater cannot be about you. If it was about you, then you would have stayed single.
Yeah.
So that for us, that is, rather for me, that's a drive. That even when it goes south, or rather when you are having issues, what are the lessons I'm learning in this thing, in this season, that is encouraging me and building me to accomplish that which God created for us as a mission, as a ministry. And one of the ways is that rather a miscommunication, or rather a misconception, is that I'm marrying her so that because she's a helper, she's coming to help me achieve my vision. That's a misconception. She has been having a vision for 25 years. So what does it mean? That after she gets married, her vision disappears?
No.
What of her vision? So she needs to accomplish her vision. I need to accomplish my vision. We need to accomplish our vision. There are things she will only accomplish as grace, and she'll be asked to answer that.
Yeah.
There are things I'll accomplish as Jonah, and I need to answer that. There are things we will be answerable for as Mr. and Mrs. Olendo.
Yeah.
That is where the trick comes in. Define what God has called you as a couple to do, and do it, because we shall be answerable for it.
And the beauty is that God
It is His.
Yeah, and He makes all things beautiful at His time. It's His agenda to bring forth beautiful families. Beautiful families will birth a beautiful nation. A beautiful nation is going to birth just a beautiful world. Yeah, so let's strive to make each other a blessing to each other.
I think something good about our marriage that I've learned is that, and it's also a challenge to any person that wants to get married, that if you are not ready to be vulnerable, don't get into marriage. Because marriage apparently brings out the real you. You cannot hide as much as you might want to hide, or as long as you might want to hide. And I'm grateful that it's making me better. And I can say that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things I've learned and grown. I think that for me is key. And also the challenge that God has trusted me with one of His creations to be accountable to. That keeps me going and keeps me going back to Him to give me wisdom for such. And I enjoy life doing it with my wife for many years to come. Yeah.
Well, me, I'm just happy that I have your name added to mine. Yeah, it's a blessing just saying my name is Grace Wadegwa Olendo. Just having someone's name on it. So thank you for being good. Thank you for being a good husband. I look forward to many, many, many good things that God is going to do, because the future is bright and God always makes everything beautiful. And with Christ as a center, we have a lot to see. Yeah, so here's to many, many, many
Wonderful
good days.
years.
Amen.
Amen.
I love you so much, baby.
Love you too.
Thank you so much, guys, for gracing us with your story.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks for having us.
For being number 3. Oh, wow. For being number 3. We are humble.
So your story is very inspiring. We really hope it's going to touch a lot of people out there.
Bless the Lord.
We really appreciate you guys for creating time for us to just to hear your story.
Yeah.
We bless you and your family and your house, and may you just continue to increase and sing God's goodness.
Amen.
Thanks
So
so much.
from here we head straight to what you call the Game of It challenge.
No, can't we just also say a blessing to this?
Yes, you can.
Oh, yeah.
You can't refuse blessings.
Yeah, so may God actually bless you.
Amen.
May you continue to impact many, many people.
Amen.
We actually look forward to seeing 10 years from now.
Wow.
We know that God is going to do great things through you too and through this ministry. And I just look forward to laughing at the beautiful episodes and the future that will be there, because it's going to be bright. Yeah, so thank you for friendship. Thank you for this, and to the future. It shall be better because you have God.
And may you not lack anything that which is needed
Amen.
for this
Amen.
to be done. And may it reach people, not
Amen.
just people, but the right people. And may it bear fruits
Amen.
for God's glory.
What more can we add after that?
When you bless it.
Just wrap it out. Awesome.
It's been real.
Some chili.
Then we say it's been real first.
It's been real.
It's been fun. It's been Jesus.
God, we're coming back for the Game of It challenge.
Thank you, guys.
Ge-